The Burj Al Mas stood like a diamond blade piercing the Dubai night sky, its 122 floors glittering with a million LED lights synchronized to the pulse of the city below. On the 98th floor, the Al Mas penthouse sprawled across an entire level, marble veins running through floors, floor-to-ceiling glass walls framing the endless desert and the twinkling Persian Gulf, and a private infinity pool that seemed to spill straight into the stars. It was New Year's Eve 2025, and the annual Al Khalid Gala was in full swing. Champagne fountains bubbled with vintage Dom Perignon. A live orchestra played beneath a crystal chandelier the size of a small car. Guests in costume couture drifted like exotic fish, oil princes in tailored thobes, European heiresses dripping diamonds, tech moguls checking stock prices on discreet smartwatches. At the center of it all stood Victor Al Khalid, tall, impeccably groomed, silver streaking his temples like intentional highlights. The man who had turned a modest family trading company into a $12 billion conglomerate in under 15 years. The man everyone envied. The man who smiled like he owned the future. And beside him, radiant in a midnight blue gown that hugged her 6-month pregnant belly like liquid sapphire, was Sophia Al Khalid. His wife. His trophy. His problem. Sophia felt the weight of every gaze in the room. She had grown used to it over the 4 years of their marriage, the admiration mixed with envy, the whispers about how lucky she was. But tonight the stares felt heavier, sharper. Perhaps it was the hormones. Perhaps it was the way Victor's hand rested possessively on the small of her back, fingers pressing just a fraction too hard whenever she tried to step away. "You look exquisite, Habibti," he murmured near her ear, breath warm with expensive scotch. "Everyone is watching." "That's what you wanted, isn't it?" she replied softly, keeping her smile fixed. "The perfect picture." Victor chuckled, the sound low and controlled. "Always so dramatic." "Smile for the cameras, Sophia. The board members are here. The investors. This night seals the merger with Al Mansour Group. Everything we've worked for." "Everything you've worked for," she thought, but said nothing. She had learned early that silence was safer. They had met 5 years earlier at Cambridge, where she was studying art history and he was finishing his MBA. Back then Victor had been charming, ambitious, almost vulnerable. He pursued her relentlessly, flowers delivered to her dorm, weekend trips to Paris, promises of a life bigger than anything she'd imagined growing up in a quiet London suburb. When her father's business collapsed under debt, Victor stepped in like a savior, paying off the loans, investing in the family name. Marriage followed quickly. Love, or something close to it, had existed once. But power had a way of corroding even the strongest feelings. Now, at 31, Sophia felt like a beautiful accessory in Victor's empire. The pregnancy had been unplanned. Victor had insisted on securing the legacy as soon as possible after the wedding. She had wanted to wait, to finish her master's, perhaps open a small gallery. But Victor's vision didn't include delays. A server approached with a silver tray. 2 flutes of champagne, one regular, one clearly marked non-alcoholic with a gold ribbon tied around the stem. "For the mother-to-be," the server said with a practiced smile. Victor took the alcoholic flute and handed Sophia the other. "To new beginnings," he toasted, clinking glasses. His eyes locked on hers a second too long. She sipped. The sparkling juice tasted faintly bitter, like almond extract gone wrong. She frowned but set it down. Nausea had been her constant companion lately, maybe it was just that. Across the room, she caught sight of a familiar face that made her heart stutter. Ethan Caldwell, tall, dark-haired, still wearing that quiet intensity she remembered from university. He had been her closest friend back then, the one who listened when she talked about art for hours, the one who almost became something more before Victor swept in. Ethan had disappeared after graduation. Rumor said he'd built a formidable law practice in London, specializing in high-stakes corporate litigation and family disputes. Seeing him here, in a charcoal suit that fit like it was made for him, sent a jolt through her. Their eyes met. For a moment the noise of the party faded. Ethan gave the smallest nod, acknowledgement, concern, something unspoken. Then Victor's arm tightened around her waist, pulling her toward a group of investors. The night wore on. Speeches. Fireworks exploding over the Gulf in synchronized bursts of red and gold. More champagne. More forced smiles. Sophia excused herself twice to the powder room, splashing water on her face, breathing through waves of dizziness. Each time she returned, Victor's eyes tracked her like a predator. Around 11:45 p.m. as the countdown to midnight began, Victor pulled her aside to the private terrace overlooking the city. "I have something for you," he said, producing a small velvet box. Inside was a diamond pendant shaped like a crescent moon, stunning, cold, expensive. "It's beautiful," she said, touching it lightly. "Wear it tonight. For luck." He fastened it around her neck himself, fingers lingering at her throat. "You know how important tonight is. No mistakes." She nodded. The pendant felt heavy, like a collar. They rejoined the party just as the final minute began. Everyone gathered near the glass wall, counting down in multiple languages. 10, 9, 8, Sophia felt the room tilt. Her vision blurred at the edges. The bitter aftertaste returned, stronger now, coating her tongue. Her knees buckled. Victor caught her elbow. "Sophia? What's wrong?" "I don't feel," her words slurred. Guests turned. Murmurs rose. "She's fainting, give her space." Victor scooped her up dramatically. "Call the doctor." "She's pregnant, move." The world narrowed to flashing lights, concerned faces, Victor's voice barking orders. Then darkness swallowed her whole. She didn't see the satisfied flicker in his eyes as paramedics rushed in. She didn't hear him whisper to his assistant, "Make sure the non-alcoholic bottle is disposed of immediately." And she didn't see Ethan Caldwell pushing through the crowd, face pale, phone already to his ear, calling in every favor he had. When Sophia woke, it was to the sterile beep of machines and the sting of an 4 in her arm. She was in the ICU of Al Zahra Hospital, private wing. Tubes snaked across her body. Monitors tracked her heartbeat, and the baby's. A nurse leaned over. "You're awake. Don't try to speak yet. You've been in a medically induced coma for 3 days. 3 days. Sophia's hand flew to her belly. The baby kicked, weak, but there. Tears burned her eyes. Alive. They were both alive. The nurse checked vitals, then whispered, "There's someone waiting to see you. He's been here every day." The door opened. Ethan stepped in, suit rumpled, eyes bloodshot from lack of sleep. He looked like he hadn't left the hospital since New Year's. "Sophia," he breathed, crossing the room in 2 strides. He took her hand gently. "You're going to be okay." She tried to speak. Her throat was raw. What happened?" Ethan's jaw tightened. "They're saying anaphylaxis. Severe allergic reaction to something in the drink. But I don't buy it." He leaned closer, voice dropping to a whisper. "I have a contact in the hotel security. They recovered footage from the service corridor." Victor was seen switching the labels on 2 champagne bottles minutes before he handed you the glass. And toxicology just came back. It wasn't an allergy. It was cyanide, trace amounts, slow acting. Designed to look natural. Sophia's heart monitor spiked. Cyanide. He tried to kill her. And the baby. "Why?" she rasped. Ethan's eyes darkened. "The merger. The prenup. If you die now, accidentally, before the baby is born, Victor inherits everything outright. No trust for the child. No alimony. Full control. And there's more. He's been moving assets offshore. I've been tracking it for months, ever since you called me 6 months ago, crying, saying you were scared." She had called him. Late one night when Victor was away. She'd confessed everything, the control, the isolation, the fear. Ethan had listened, promised to help if she ever needed it. She hadn't believed it would come to this. "The baby," she whispered, strong heartbeat. Doctors say another week or two and they can deliver safely if needed. But you need to stay strong. Sophia closed her eyes. Rage and terror warred inside her. Victor had poisoned her in front of 500 witnesses and walked away clean. Not anymore. Ethan, she said, boy, steadier now. I want him to pay. Ethan squeezed her hand. He will. But first, we keep you alive. I've already filed an emergency protective order. Police are involved. And I'm not leaving your side. Outside the window, Dubai glittered on, indifferent, beautiful, ruthless. Inside the room, a new story was beginning. One of survival. One of revenge. Victor Al-Khalid sat in his office on the 100th floor of Burj Almas, floor-to-ceiling windows framing a city that bowed to him. 3 days since the tragic incident. The gala photos still circulated online, him cradling Sophia's limp body, face etched with perfect concern. Headlines praised his devotion, billionaire hero rushes pregnant wife to hospital. He poured himself a measure of 50-year-old McKellen and smiled thinly. Everything was proceeding according to plan. The board had already expressed sympathy, and quietly approved his temporary sole control of key decisions during Sophia's recovery. The merger documents were signed. Assets were shifting. And the mistress, Layla, elegant, discreet, waiting in the shadows, would soon step into the light. His phone buzzed. Layla. Is it done? She asked, voice husky. Soon. Doctors say she's stable but weak. Another complication and it's over. Layla laughed softly. You're colder than I thought. You love it. He ended the call and opened his laptop. Security footage backups had been scrubbed, his tech team was efficient. The switch bottle? Long gone. Toxicology would be explained as a tragic accident, perhaps cross-contamination in the kitchen. He had 3 witnesses ready to swear they saw a server spill something near the trays. He was untouchable. Until the knock. His assistant entered, pale. Sir, police are here. Anne. Ethan Caldwell is with them. Victor's glass paused halfway to his lips. Show them in. Detective Inspector Khalid Al-Rashid entered first, mid-40s, sharp eyes, no nonsense. Behind him, Ethan Caldwell, calm and lethal in a tailored suit. Mr. Al-Khalid, the detective began. We need to speak about the incident on New Year's Eve. Victor set the glass down. Of course. Anything to help my wife. Ethan spoke next, voice even. We have reason to believe it was not an accident. Victor raised an eyebrow. And you are? Legal counsel for Mrs. Al-Khalid. She has retained me. Victor laughed once, short, sharp. Sophia is in a coma. She retained no one. She woke up this morning, Ethan said. And she's given a statement. Victor felt the first crack in his composure. What statement? That you handed her a glass you knew was tampered with. Ridiculous. She was confused, medication, shock. The detective placed a tablet on the desk and pressed play. Grainy service corridor footage, Victor, in his tuxedo, taking 2 bottles from a chilled cart, peeling labels, switching them. Clear. Undeniable. Victor stared. His team had missed that camera. Where did you get this? He demanded. Hotel security vault. Independent backup. Not connected to your system. Victor leaned back. This proves nothing. I was checking the labels, non-alcoholic for my pregnant wife. I didn't want mistakes. Ethan smiled thinly. Then why did you dispose of both bottles immediately after? Victor said nothing. The detective continued. We also have the toxicology report. Cyanide metabolites. Small dose, meant to induce cardiac arrest over hours, mimicking anaphylaxis. Mrs. Al-Khalid's allergy bracelet was removed that night. By you. Victor's mind raced. Layla. She had suggested the dose. She had handled the bottle. I want my lawyer, he said finally. You'll need one, Ethan replied. Because this is now attempted murder. And we're just getting started. Back at the hospital, Sophia sat propped up in bed, fur still dripping. Ethan returned at dusk, carrying files. They questioned him for 4 hours, he told her. He's lawyered up, but the footage is damning. Bail hearing tomorrow. Sophia touched the crescent pendant, still around her neck. She hadn't taken it off. Not yet. I want to see him, she said. Ethan frowned. Not safe. I need to look him in the eye. I need him to know I'm not gone. After heated discussion, Ethan arranged it, supervised, through glass, in the hospital's secure wing. The next afternoon, Victor was brought in handcuffs, flanked by officers. He looked immaculate as ever, suit pressed, hair perfect. But his eyes were hollow. Sophia stood on her side of the glass, hand on her belly. You tried to kill us, she said quietly. Victor met her gaze. You're hysterical. The drugs. Stop lying. He leaned closer to the glass. You think you can destroy me? I built this life. Without me, you're nothing. Sophia smiled, small, cold. Without you, I'm free. She turned and walked away, leaving him staring after her. That night, Layla slipped into Victor's penthouse using her key. She found him in the study, staring at the city. It's falling apart, he said. Layla poured wine. We can fix it. One more accident. She's still weak. Victor looked at her. You did the mixing. Your prints are probably on something. Layla froze. You promised protection. I promised nothing. She stepped back. You bastard. Victor smiled. Welcome to the game, darling. But Layla was already texting, insurance. She had recorded every conversation. Every plan. By morning, her recordings were with Ethan. The walls were closing in. Sophia's recovery accelerated in the private wing. Daily ultrasounds showed the baby thriving despite the poison's shadow. Ethan brought more evidence daily, Layla's frantic texts to Victor, offshore account transfers, a deleted email chain plotting the final solution. Layla cracked first, turned state's witness for immunity, handing over audio recordings of Victor laughing about one less heir. Victor's lawyer screamed conspiracy, but public opinion shifted, stock prices dipped 18%. Sophia, gaining strength, recorded her own victim statement from bed. Flashbacks haunted her, university days with Ethan's gentle laugh versus Victor's cold control. She whispered to her belly, we're fighting back now. The storm was just beginning. Victor launched a desperate media blitz, paid influencers called Sophia unstable, leaked fake medical records claiming postpartum delusion. But Layla's testimony in preliminary hearing destroyed him. He told me the cyanide dose was clean and quiet. Security footage played in open court, gasps echoed through the room. Al-Khalid board ousted him within hours, shares crashed 42%. Sophia appeared via video link, calm and regal, detailing every controlling moment. Ethan filed for emergency asset freeze, millions clawed back for her and the unborn child. Victor, once untouchable, sat shackled, eyes hollow. As bail was denied again, Sophia told Ethan softly, not marriage yet, but thank you for standing with us. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Guilty on attempted murder, conspiracy, fraud. Victor received 28 years. Layla got 4, served in low security. Sophia gave birth 2 months later, a healthy boy named Amir. She sued for full divorce, won control of $1.8 billion in disputed assets. With the money she opened Crescent Gallery in Dubai Marina, her dream realized. Ethan remained close, never pushing, always protecting. One quiet evening on her new balcony overlooking the Gulf, Sophia cradled Amir, the crescent pendant now a keepsake for her son. She looked at Ethan beside her and smiled. This is our beginning, she said. Freedom tasted sweeter than any champagne.